Good. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is December 10th, 2020 at 4:01 p.m. This is the December monthly meeting of the Sandpoint Arts Commission here at Sandpoint City Hall Chambers. I'm the chair, Ellie Susness, and here in chambers with me, I have Kara Kowalczyk,
Patricia
Walker, Hannah Combs, and virtually we have Matt Kerr. All right, so I would like to have a motion to approve the what was last month? November monthly meeting minutes. So moved. Hannah's moved. May I have a second? Carol seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, thanks everybody for being here. Basically, this is our end of year wrap up, and I'm glad to see everybody since we didn't have a couple meetings. And this was kind of a slim year as far as projects. So I thought we would just kind of go over the projects that we did and then wrap up, maybe talking about the Sandpoint Arts, Culture, and Historical Preservation Master Plan and how that might look starting next month. So I thought we'd talk about the box wraps first. I have gotten really good feedback on the collaboration that we had with the Historical Preservation Commission, doing the historical photos and the art wraps.
A lot of people have said they really like them.
Good, yeah. I'd like to
I've had the same comments as well.
Good. I think we did a good job getting them up this year with the COVID slowing everything down. And, it was a little tough at the beginning, but Busy Beaver Graphics really came through and did a really, really wonderful job. And I'd like to thank Linda Heiss here at the city for being the liaison for that. She put in a lot of work to get those going, and her effort is appreciated.
Especially now, I think it even stands out more. One thing when we see them in the summer and everything's outdoors and stuff, but now that it starts to get gray, it really makes everything that's colorful pop.
Right.
And obviously, the stuff is pretty good because somebody put graffiti all over one of the ones at the windbag.
What?
Yeah, there was graffiti on it, but it's been cleaned.
Okay, good.
Nice.
That was this fall.
All right. Yeah, I hadn't heard that, but good to know. So the paying extra for the graffiti coating was worth it. Good.
Yeah. I've also heard compliments on our combined scope of having historic photographs and artwork. A lot of people really responded to that.
Awesome. That wasn't necessarily the goal at the time when we first brought this project forward, but the synergy of the two commissions, I think, really showed itself with that project. And I think going forward, that is important.
I agree. I think, it's interesting that wasn't the forethought thought, but then we ended up on this path of combining the arts and culture. And I noticed it more when I drove through a city in the Napa area where theirs are all art. And I thought, wow, we had more foresight than we thought, because look how wonderful we made it all go together.
Mm-hmm.
And the other compliment I heard is that it helps us brag about. It gives people who live here a place to take people to brag about our city. Another enhancement that, it's just kind of a nice side thing that the arts provided.
Wonderful.
Have they all been completed at this point, or is there still a third batch?
I was just going to say, actually, we do have more to look forward to in the spring.
Nice.
So when we did the RFP and the selection panel, we picked all of them for the first 3 phases, and I believe only the first 2 phases have been installed. So there are some more, I think, over by Jack in the Box, and actually quite a few there on Fifth, I think, by Foster's, by Misty
Yeah.
Mountain.
Yeah, we didn't get all of them.
Yeah.
So.
So, yeah, there's more to look forward to when the weather gets good in the spring, which is nice.
And it's nice that they're sturdy.
Yes.
Mm.
You know, the expansion of heat and then the cold, and that's a lot on a piece of artwork.
Yes, definitely. Yep, lots of good feedback on those. So I'm very excited about that. And I noticed that there's lots, it seems like the boxes keep popping up too. So that's a program that even if, I mean, I don't know that we have to stop with that. As long as we can find funding,
Yeah.
we can keep going with wrapping the boxes as they pop up. So I'm
Prettier than the box.
Yes, definitely. All right, was there any more question about the wraps or comments? Great. All right, the next project that we worked on this year was the second year of the Silver Box Project. Back in June, I believe, we put out an RFP for more art on loan pieces. And we have 3 really beautiful ones installed right now. Green Feather.
I've heard a lot of comments about the green feather. They like that.
Mm-hmm.
They like that one.
Did we ever hear anything? Was there ever anybody made to task for the destruction of the one? For tearing down the big heart? Never find out who did it?
You know, the last I heard, it could have been vandalism or it could have been just structural failure of the piece itself. So
It was kind of oddly bent for it to be structural.
I haven't heard anything, so.
Since I was on the scene early.
Yeah, you were walking by.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was gonna come back to that.
Okay.
The second one that we have up is The Struggle, which is over by Oak and Fourth. And then Eagle Chieftain, which is at Fifth and Oak. And they're all back up. The Green Feather actually sustained some damage during the Labor Day windstorm. So it was down for about a month. Unfortunately, it had just been installed and then Labor Day came around and some pieces were damaged. But the artist traveled back to Sandpoint and repaired and reinforced the piece, and it is back up on the pedestal. So that brings me to a few questions I had. How do we make the program better? You know, we may want to revisit the RFP when June rolls around and we want to re-up for next year. We have enough money in the budget to re-up for next year. The year after, I will have to go back to Sura and request more money for that budget. But we have done, we will have done 3 years with the original
Nice.
budget. So that's actually really great.
Yeah.
Does our RFP include that the Sandpoint has occasional high wind?
That's what I'm getting at. I'm thinking, you know, there is a portion in there that says, of course, that it needs to be durable in the weather, but we might need to bulk up that that verbiage to say that
We occasionally get some high
we
wind.
occasionally get high winds, you know, we have freeze and thaw periods that need to be addressed. You know, thinking about the Angry Bird, you know, it ended up having some cracks because of the freeze thaw and the ice forming and.
Well, the material that it was made out of too.
Yeah, so, I mean, those are some things that I'd love for you to think about, and um,
I had comments about the sculpture that's right on Fifth and by the bank there.
oh,
Which
Eagle
one?
Chieftain?
Eagle Chieftain, the size. The comments have been, why is it so small? It's lost.
Yes,
Well, then,
But I mean, we do specify size, and it was below the size we specified.
right.
So I think we need to be more careful of that.
Well, I think there's certain criteria that we have to think about. We also did want to include David Baransky in the three, and, there wasn't, that was the best
Of the ones
of
that
the
we had.
ones we had.
To pick
So, I think that, when we're looking at things, we do need to think about that, but there's also other factors that come into play. And,
Yeah,
for a person that's walking, I think it's fine, but yeah, it doesn't have the visual punch that you would like to have when people are driving by. And so that's a lesson learned.
yeah, because there are some areas where walking is the primary way it's gonna be viewed.
Right.
As far as the materials, I don't think it would work to say like pieces have to be made of these 5 different materials. But could we put restrictions on types of materials we will not accept?
Oh,
So
that's
it
a
seems
great
like
idea.
every year we get a handful of applications that are made of
Paper mache.
Yeah, things that
It
obviously
won't work outside.
Somehow they miss the outdoor part.
Right.
Or they think it always looks like Matt's background and it's always sunny here.
True. Yeah, that's a great idea. So put in some weather-related verbiage and also some materials we absolutely will not accept. Anyone else have any comments on?
well, Ellie, just as a general comment, and I'm not sure, maybe, it sounded like you were looking to see if we, like a vote of confidence, do we take the program forward? I absolutely would say yes. I'm very encouraged by this program and hopeful for it. I've seen it evolve since it started. And I think this program has legs now. People know about it. They're enthusiastic to be a part of it. And I absolutely know it's just going to get better. So I say we spend what we need to spend to keep this thing going. If not, expand it.
Thank you, I agree. I totally agree.
I also really like that that art moves in and out, because sometimes people start just to take it for granted when they don't see it in this way, especially the post office one, man. People,
Oh, yeah.
when that changes, people are right over there looking. Have the adequate time trying to get out of the post office actually, but it is nice to have things change and not have all of our installations be permanent.
I agree.
Yeah, I totally agree with that also. Great. Well, yeah, and the beginnings of that program were very, very stop-start. So I'm very pleased with how it's progressing, just like you said, Matt.
Yeah, me too.
So thanks, everybody, for sticking with it. All right, so next up, I want to discuss the Arts, Culture, and Historical Preservation Master Plan. So it is coming along. We had the consultants, the Coda Group, present last month, and they came back just this week with an updated copy. There wasn't a whole lot changed on the art side. They made some tweaks to the historic preservation side, just basically technical tweaks after talking to the state historical preservation committee.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting that dialed in. We had a steering committee steering committee meeting this morning. And we had a lot of great participation, and so that was good. Mary Malone said that the updated copy will be out on the web for everyone to take a look at probably tomorrow. So I'd love for everybody to take a look at it, and you know, you can give me feedback and I can make sure it gets to the to people that need to see it. One of the things that was tweaked a little bit is, you know, we talked about the combination of the Arts and Historic Preservation Commission, and that's probably going to be one of the things, the first things that gets implemented once this has been approved next month, hopefully by City Council. And some of the changes that they made to that, maybe I'll just read this if everybody will bear with me. Then you can think about it and think about any ideas you might have to give to me. It says, the Sandpoint Arts, Culture, and Historical Preservation Plan provides a vision and framework for local action in enhancing the community's cultural, arts, and historic preservation sectors. The following section provides guidance regarding the consolidation of the Arts and Historic Preservation Commissions into one planning body for the arts and historic preservation, as well as potential funding sources for local activities. An implementation chart summarizes all arts, culture, and historic preservation implementation actions. So a key recommended initiative in this plan is the consolidation of the Arts and Historic Preservation Commissions into one combined entity. Ideally, a newly reconstituted Arts and Historic Preservation Commission should have the following composition and duties. Consider a 9-member advisory with 3-year terms and a limit of 2 terms. Do not limit membership by personal residential status. Ensure the commission includes 2 people who meet the Secretary of Interior's professional qualification standards for historic preservation. So the recommended makeup of this would be 2 leaders of nonprofit arts organization, 2 leaders of nonprofit historical organizations, people with professional expertise in fine art, public art, arts education, or performance, people with professional expertise in architecture, historic preservation, or land use development, regional tribal members or artists, Sandpoint business or property owners, and at-large community members. So one of the things that changed from the draft that we heard about at our last meeting was they reduced the recommended number to 9. And SHPO is the one that recommended that mainly for quorum reasons. As you know, that sometimes it's hard to get a quorum, especially if you have a bigger group. So that was the main reason.
Who or what is SHPO?
That is, let's see, I want to make sure I get it right. Melissa, do you know?
I believe it's the State Historic Preservation Office.
Yeah. So they are the main go-to for any of the questions that we have on the historic side of this. So that was their recommendation, and here are the duties. Bear with me, there's about 10 points. Stimulate greater public awareness and appreciation of the importance of arts, historic preservation, and local Sandpoint heritage. Encourage the growth of Sandpoint's artistic and cultural community and the preservation of historic resources by fostering a receptive climate for the arts, culture, historic preservation in the community. Provide financial and technical assistance to Sandpoint's artistic, cultural, historical organizations in advancing arts and preservation planning goals. regularly assess the arts and culture heritage needs of the people of Sandpoint and make such information available to the city council and all interested agencies and entities for planning purposes. Survey, document, and preserve historical resources important to understanding Sandpoint's heritage. Encourage opportunities for Sandpoint residents to participate in artistic, historical, and cultural activities offered by the city and other arts and heritage entities. Seek and encourage financial support, including grants, loans, and guarantees to Sandpoint artists, art institutions, historians, and heritage organizations sponsoring arts, historic preservation, and history activities subject to city council approval. Represent public interest by developing and recommending policies that pertain to arts, historic preservation, and history to the Sandpoint City Council. Advise the city of Sandpoint regarding the costs, benefits, and other issues of acquiring cultural assets and implementing cultural and heritage programming. Consider and recommend to the city council such local laws and regulations and ordinances necessary or desirable for protection, enhancement, and preservation of historic properties. And recommendation to the city council within the limits of its funding, the employment or the contracting with other parties for the services of technical experts of other persons as the commission deems necessary to carry on its functions. So, actually, our duties will be expanded, and I think that's a good thing. You know, right now, we're basically an advisory commission, and, you know, we dabble a little bit in all of these things, but ultimately, we really bring it back to the staff, and I think there's room for expansion, you know, in these duties. So any comments or questions?
I have one, and that is the role of the city's person now with the committees and how much of this grant seeking and that type of thing will be a part of their job, and how will the commission interact with the person that's now newly hired to facilitate the arts and culture.
Well, we don't know for sure at this point. I think it's going to be a work in progress, and that's where we kind of have to be open and willing to kind of roll with the changes.
Yeah.
At least that's how I'm feeling about it.
Okay.
You know,
I don't know if they had addressed it because they kind of brought that position to the forefront, so.
yeah. Well, I think it's definitely going to depend on the person. Like right now, the last year or so, we've brought in other city staff to kind of pick up the slack on different projects, which I think has worked really well.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that will carry forward. It may, because.
And that was the second part of my question, like Aaron coming and giving us guidelines and,
Yeah.
That kind of position was helpful.
And I feel like whoever is in that position is going to have to really come up to speed really fast to help us as a newly combined commission, you know, move forward in a, you know, efficient and, I don't know what word I want to say, but, you know, hopefully we won't have too many pitfalls moving forward, but hopefully we'll all stay engaged and, you know, be able to find the information we need to move slowly or smoothly through the transition.
And then one of them that come to mind, and I don't know why I didn't think about it earlier, but does the Historic Commission receive funding from SORA?
No.
Okay, I didn't think I'd ever remembered them reporting, but I couldn't remember. So that won't be a conflict.
Right.
Is there anything where we've both sought funding? I would think that'd still be outside of tourism grants, I would think that would still be a good combination. Okay.
Right. And who knows, that could change.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's all just part of the process. And the thing about this plan is it really brings to the forefront that we do need to find alternative methods of funding
Yeah.
these programs on both sides.
Mhm.
So that'll be part of the learning process too. And I think the person who ends up being the liaison
Yeah,
will have to have some kind
some
of
of that,
uh,
okay.
role in that. Yeah. So this could potentially be our last meeting as this
Wow.
group. And that's why
Interesting.
I really wanted you guys to be here, so.
So we'll be losing, not losing, but always going to be supported, but we would have fewer of us going forward.
Well, since they pulled it back to 9, that will be definitely a possibility, since I think Historic has 5 commissioners right now, and we have, what do we have? We have 7?
You have 7.
So, yeah, so we're gonna have to dial it back a little bit, but, I mean, I'm hopeful that what we can do, what we talked about this morning, is have, the core of commissioners, the 9, whoever that ends up being, and then have project groups, or, I guess that's what we will end up calling them, as project groups within the commission, or ad hoc committees.
No, because ad hoc committees could still be relevant. We still have a silver box committee that's,
Oh, okay.
And, to be truthful, to get all of this stuff done that we want to get done, we're going to need way
Yeah.
more people than the 9 commissioners. So,
Well, that was just suggested 9.
true, that is true.
Maybe just keep notes of interested volunteers that, we could quickly call on.
Exactly. Yeah, well, it remains to be seen what will be approved, but, I'm just trying to get everybody prepared that there will be changes, and I'm still counting on everybody to do the great work that you've done during your time on the commission, because I appreciate everybody so much. And I think we've done really great work these last few years.
me too.
I think a lot done.
I think when you drive into Sandpoint, you realize there's a significant emphasis on the arts, but I think we're getting people slowly acclimated to the fact that artists are a paid
Yes.
Yes,
group.
yes. No
No,
longer, give it to us for free so you can become known.
Yeah, so you get your name on the poster. And,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that when somebody tells me that. I'm like, oh, my name's already on there. It's the address of your event. I'm sorry. So there's some areas of growth, but I think we've done well.
I definitely think so. But I'm super excited about this plan because, this is going to take us to the next level.
Absolutely.
And, even, I was going to mention, we got 61 respondents on the last survey.
Nice.
So it was,
That's helpful.
half again what we did the first time, so that's good. But I was going to say, whether it was COVID time or whatever, and not being able to do it in person, which I think we would have gotten a lot more response if we'd have had some workshops and things like that. But I mean, all of this in the plan is things that we've been talking about for years.
Yes.
So I'm confident that it's things that are going to really make Sandpoint great.
Well, and also I think another emphasis is for all the other arts organizations and history organizations to have this plan. And finally getting the Canada to readdress their strategic plan, which is very old. I think it's really important for all the board members now to read this plan
Right.
and realize where our place in that vision is. As
Good
we
point.
plan.
Good point, because as this gets adopted, then it
Yes.
blossoms out into the community and other entities can update their, however
And-
old.
Absolutely. Falls on the shoulders of the arts leaders to
Right.
make sure that this is implemented.
And confirm their expectations of us too.
Absolutely.
True. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited going forward. It's gonna be weird changes, but I think it's gonna be great. I'm very excited about the direction this outlines.
And I'm sorry, how many people are on the historic commission right now? 5.
And we haven't really even addressed how it's gonna look. So there's nothing right now that shows who would be where at any, officially at all. We haven't even talked about that, but I did want to bring it up, so. Yeah, so any other comments or questions?
Well, I have one that's not really in our scope, but somebody asked it of me and I thought, well, maybe you guys would know. They ask on the wraps that are downtown, that are white now, if they could put the history ones back up during Christmas and it looks festive and nice and I think that's probably a Amanda
Yeah,
Jennifer question. Is
I
that-
think
would that be
so.
right? Okay.
I had the same thought too, and I don't know if the printed ones got damaged. I'm not
Yeah, I
sure.
didn't know. But, okay.
It would be nice.
It would be nice, and it just adds another element when you're down there, so it's obviously not gonna change anytime soon.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you for your leadership, you guys have been carrying this load for a while to get to this culmination.
I just hang out.
It's a lot of work. Like I've been at City Hall 3 times this week, so, it can be a lot of work, but it's very fulfilling and, I want the best. I personally want the best for Sandpoint and, I feel like we're moving in the right direction. I feel like this plan is really going to give us that focus that we need to gather everybody in and really make things happen for arts and historic preservation.
I agree and wanted to thank you as well, Ellie. I think you've done a great job and your passion is coming through. And we see the leadership, you dig in, you make it happen. So thank you because, and I'm sure it would be easy to kind of let it slip away in a year when not much happens. But you kept us going.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you all. So that goes without saying.
Thank you. All right.
All right. Well, we can make it a short meeting.
We could just celebrate and say 2020 is a wrap in one area. Wow.
Yes.
Everybody's waiting for 2020 to be a wrap.
All right. Well, why don't I just say it? 2020 is a wrap. Meeting adjourned.
He's out of there.
And before we all go, Ellie's son, tell him what he got on his SATs.
Are we off there?
Not yet.
Okay.
If I end, Matt will leave.
Oh, okay. Well, John got 1,500 out of 1,520 on the PSAT.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. So,
Write his own ticket.
Yeah, he's a smarty pants for sure. So that
How
was pretty good news this
exciting.
week.
And also, before you turn my camera off, I just want to let you know, I do have an alibi for the night before the heart got damaged.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I know you were looking at me. I know you were. I could see it.
Never a fan. All right. Okay, well, thanks, Matt. We will be in touch, okay?
Okay.
All
Thanks
right.
all.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right, Melissa.